Do you know what a baking day is? Turns out it's just exactly what it sounds like. It's a day when you bake. I bet your grandma had a weekly baking day as part of her frugal living strategy. Stick around for more about this and 11 more tips for frugal living and saving money that come to us straight from the Great Depression. You don't want to miss this. Welcome, I'm Amy, and here at Frugal Over 50, I give you tips and tools for frugal living, all personally tested by me. Well, maybe I didn't test these tips from the Great Depression because I wasn't born during the Great Depression, but some of these are tips that I know and that you know, and we just need a little bit of a reminder of how they work. So let's get right to it. Number one, don't use shopping as entertainment. Don't use shopping as therapy. That expression, retail therapy, that's not a thing. Don't shop for entertainment. Don't shop to feel better. Do you need to feel better? We live in a chaotic world these days. A lot of us do need to feel better. Do something like meditating or walking or exercising to feel better. And sometimes giving to others helps us to feel better. So volunteer some time or help a friend. Do something good for somebody else. These things are free and they contribute rather than consume. Number two, save up for what you want to buy. I talked about this recently in a video series that I did on 21 things to save money, and I hope that you'll go back and watch that whole series. But in that series, I talked about saving up for large purchases. In the Great Depression, you would save up for every purchase. So for instance, I'm wanting to get a new pair of shoes for walking. It's been a few years, honestly, since I bought new shoes. They're probably going to be between $80 and $100 to get the shoes that I want. I'm going to save up for it over a period of several months. My feet can handle it. My shoes aren't destroyed. And I'm going to save little by little. And I recommend that you take purchases that you can save up for and save up for them, even if they seem medium to small. Plan ahead enough that you're always saving up for your purchases. Tip number 3 from the Great Depression is to be happy with what you have. When people go through great economic crisis, as many of you are going through right now, and as people have suffered throughout the world, throughout time, it's really easy to focus on the negative and on what we don't have. And for many of us, the need is great. And it might seem very presumptuous of me to ask you to be grateful for what you have when you don't have very much. But it's even more important when you don't have much to identify what you do have and be happy with what you do have. Now, for those of us who have more resources, it's especially important that we be happy with what we have because we likely don't need anything else and we don't need to go get anything else in order to be happier. So we need to look around, see what we have and go, yeah, I'm happy with that. Number 4, I talked about this in the introduction, have a baking day. I just learned about this and it made me so excited. I want to implement it immediately. I don't know how I'm going to do it because I work full time, but you have one day where you just bake and you might have a loaf of bread and some cookies and a cake and a pie, and wouldn't that be amazing? And then you're not tempted throughout the course of the week to just go out and buy snacks because you've had a baking day. You've had a wonderful experience in creativity. You've used the food resources that you have. You're feeding yourself, your family, your friends, and you're not going to waste money. You're going to save money. Number 5, learn to sew. My grandmother knew how to sew. She had a really old-fashioned sewing machine, and she had one that was up to date. She could sew clothes. That's less of a common skill anymore because of the fast fashion industry. It's so much cheaper to purchase clothes and buy them used at a thrift store. But learn how to sew, learn how to repair, learn how to sew on a button, learn how to sew a rip closed, learn how to patch, learn how to extend the life of your clothes by sewing by hand or by using a sewing machine. If you have one and you haven't used it in years, pull it out, oil it up, and see if you can get it to work again. If you have always wanted to learn to sew, this is the perfect opportunity. I strongly recommend learning to sew. Number 6, learn how to take care of your things by doing basic repairs. Now, I have to confess, this is one that I don't do very well. Generally, when there's anything to be repaired, I am sent out of the room because I am not good with my hands, and I know my limitations. But also know your network. So if you're like me and you know that repairing things is not going to be something that you're going to successfully do, know who you can call on. Who in your family, who in your friend group, even repair people who charge a reasonable amount. Plan for these things. And if you're a little bit better than I am, even the tiniest bit better than I am, look on YouTube and learn how to repair that thing. I bet you can do it. Whenever I try it, I either discover it's too far gone because I used it for too long, which is not a bad problem, or I discover that I really need some help. Whatever you discover, you will at least know where you stand on the repair job. And if you can have the skills to repair things, then it's like magic. You can bring whole new life to possessions that you've had for a long time. Learn how to repair. Number 7, make your own cleaning products. It's possible to buy wonderful, ecologically friendly cleaning products. It's also possible to make them. All you need is a squirt bottle, some vinegar, and some water. You fill half the squirt bottle with vinegar, the other half with water, and then you get a few squirts of dish soap in there. You can make it smell better with essential oils if you want to, but I usually don't bother. A lot of you have talked to me in the comments about how you have saved hundreds of dollars per month by switching from cleaning products that cost a lot of money to cleaning products you make yourself for pennies on the dollar. This is the little secret of cleaning products, is that it doesn't take much. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money to get your house clean. You just need some vinegar and some water and a little squirt of dish soap. Some of you have other homemade recipes. Tell me your favorite down below. Number 8, make your own gifts. You might coordinate this with your baking day. Way back in December 2019, prehistory now, I made gifts for all of my family members by baking bread. I made my family Christmas bread recipe and I gave it to everybody, and it was wonderful. It was so much fun for me, very well received, and as soon as I can do that again, I'm going to. I can't wait for next Christmas. Think of something that you could do. You can plan it in advance for next year. You can make birthday gifts. You can make gifts throughout the year. What is your skill, and how can you turn it into a gift that you can give? Number 9, grow your own food. This is another one that I'm not great at, but I know that my grandma was. She had a huge garden. She had a strawberry patch underneath a cherry tree. She grew potatoes, she grew beans, she grew blackberries, she grew boysenberries. Do you know what boysenberries are? They're like really big, really sweet blackberries, and we had the best pies and the best jams and the best green beans. Grandma knew how to do that. I've lost the knack. I wonder if you have that knack. Do you grow your own food? I would love to someday. It's not one of the things that I do right now, but boy, do I aspire to it. Are you an expert gardener? Tell me about it below. Number 10 is a tip that I just learned that I really couldn't wait to share with you, and that is when you do your meal planning, and you should meal plan using Depression-era recipes. You can find Depression-era recipes all over the internet, and there are cookbooks that you can buy. The recipes are filled with foods that taste wonderful, that are familiar to us, and that use ingredients that don't cost a lot of money while also being very nutritious. I can't wait to try this, and if you have tried cooking Depression-era recipes, I'd love to know what did you cook, because I want to add it to my menu plan. Number 11, use everything up. I want to tell you about something that I am working on using up. I use makeup primer every day, and it comes in a little tube. And at a certain point, there won't be any more that squeezes out of the tube. But if I take my scissors and I cut the tube open, I've got about a week's worth of product in there that I just couldn't squeeze out. And the Depression-era tip here is look at everything and see how you can use it up. What can you get more life out of? Every single thing in your house is a resource until you have used it completely gone. This is going to open up your mind. Everything you look at in your house will become potential for something else. I just walked into my laundry room and I saw this zip top bag that had dog treats in it. It's a really strong zip top bag, and I was like, I can wash that out and disinfect it and use it for something. I don't know what yet. But when everything becomes a resource, you look around and you see how absolutely wealthy you are. So use everything up. Number 12, slow down. Take life a little bit more slowly. Take life a little bit less urgently. I made some decisions in this new year to help me slow down. I took some social media accounts off of my phone, for instance, and I consolidated them on my computer so that my bookmarks for those social media sites are hidden. You might think about something like that if you, like me, get a sense of urgency from just scrolling and scrolling on social media. And even news sites can affect us that way. It doesn't matter what's happening. They're going to find the worst in it to tell us about. And sometimes there's plenty of bad news, especially these days. But sometimes there's good news too. So find ways to slow down, to say no to the urgency. I even said no recently to a side project at my day job that would have brought in some extra income because I wanted to slow down. and I didn't really need that extra income as much as I needed the time. You have to balance these things out. Some of you are really hustling because you need money badly, but anything you can do to slow down your daily routine, to slow down your life, to slow down your priorities will give you time to spend doing the things that you enjoy instead of spending money to fill a hole that we create by just living our lives too rapidly and with too much urgency. Focus on what's important, keeping everything as slow as we can. We live in a fast world. Let's slow it down. Do you want more tips? I've got a great video for you on 21 frugal living tips that you can implement in 2021 and beyond. Make sure not to leave here without checking that out. Henry David Thoreau said, "We make ourselves rich by making our wants few." This is a great lesson for all of us to learn. I am so glad that you're here. Take the next step on your frugal living journey. Watch another one of my videos, and I can't wait to see you again soon. Bye-bye.